Hey, it's your Pan African World Diaspora Champion, Trish Adora, and you are watching O Face Wrestling.
Hey guys, it's your girl Red Velvet, and you are watching O Face Wrestling.
Hola todos, soy la fashionista Roche Chanel, and you're watching O Face Wrestling. Smooches!
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today on O Face Wrestling. This is your host JT, and today I'm joined by Mighty Mayra. So thanks for joining us today, Myra.
Thank you for having me. Super excited to be here.
You were very welcome. I'm super excited to have you part of the show. So I just want to get right to the question. So I want to know about the Mighty Mayra name. Where did the name and your character come from?
So Myra is my middle name. And while I would be training with my trainer, Scoot Robertson, he would always just say, you're so tiny, you're so tiny. And then I was just like, you know what? He keeps calling me tiny. I'm like, my character, I always wanted it to be someone who's an underdog, but no, I can actually beat you up if I have to. So I was like, you know what? Let's go with tiny but mighty. So yeah, I'm tiny, but I am mighty. So
Kind of like Mighty Mouse, I'm assuming.
yeah.
Okay.
I actually had a lot to play with it too.
Okay, that's what I figured, but I just had to ask anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So now I kind of want to go a little bit, in the beginnings of your wrestling days. So what was your initial inspiration to wanting to become a professional wrestler?
So I would always watch it with my brothers, and then I became a fan, and then that aha moment, my eureka moment was when I kind of grabbed one of their ECW DVDs, and I wasn't really allowed to watch because not the most PG, but while they were at work, I kind of grabbed one, and I saw Rob Van Dam, and I just thought that's who I want to be. So he was the biggest inspiration for me. I wanted to be like Rob Van Dam so bad when I was 10 years old. Now doing it, I'm like, you know what? I don't know. That's a little hard, but 10-year-old me was like, I want to be him.
Yeah, and that's funny because RVD just got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, so about time. But yeah, it's
So
actually
excited.
Yeah, me too. I was waiting for that to happen. I didn't know if he was going to come back for one last run or not. I guess they're not going to do that. But I mean, obviously, you can be inducted into the Hall of Fame and still wrestle for WWE. But I thought maybe they'd have him do one more run or something. At least I thought they would have might have had him be a special entrant in the Royal Rumble. But
Yeah,
I
that
don't
would have
know.
been cool.
That would have been cool. I did hear this was probably 2 years ago. Supposedly he's had concussion issues in the past, and WWE is kind of funny with allowing people to wrestle with a history of concussions. I don't know if that's true or not, but I remember seeing that on the internet. But at the same time, you cannot believe everything you hear on the internet. But I did remember hearing that, so I didn't know if that had anything to do with it. But either way, he's a Hall of Famer now. I think that's pretty dope.
Yeah, for sure. I was super excited. My brothers were like, look, your favorite is inducted now. I'm like, yes.
So you being a big Rob Van Dam fan, and him, he's known for the hardcore stuff at ECW. Have you ever been a part of any hardcore matches or anything like that yet?
Not yet, but I really want to. That's one of my goals. I want to be in those types of matches and
So
just
what
see
would
what creativity I can come up with.
so what would be your dream kind of stipulation match that you would want to be a part of?
I don't know. I want to do them all, but I think one of my absolute favorites have always been the ladder matches. I always thought those were pretty cool.
Can you
I think no DQs are really cool because anything goes, so you never know what's gonna happen.
can you see yourself doing an RVD and jumping off the top of the ladder doing a frog splash or anything like that?
I can try, yeah. That's just one of the things I've always wanted to do, something crazy like him.
Yeah, it seems it doesn't seem as high as you would think it is, but because I remember when I was climbing the ladder to get to my attic when I was younger, I remember like when I got to something like this is actually higher than you think, and I
It
know
gets scary, yeah. Like
it.
even like when we would have like ladders set up with my grandpa was doing like yard work, I would climb up there just to see him. Like I'm having like a little anxiety attack. I'm like, how do they do this?
A lot of confidence and a lot of practice. I just
Yeah.
can like I've always thought like how do you like practice on a ladder? I'm guessing maybe they had like a whole bunch of like cushions or like a bed or something like that at the bottom,
Probably.
but yeah, like that's if I were a wrestler, I don't know if I would do the high flying and stuff. I would be I'll be honest with you, I'd be scared that I'd land the wrong way and stuff like that. Like I'm one
Oh yeah.
one, yeah, I don't want to get hurt or anything like that. But part of me would like to do like some kind of like hardcore stuff. Like I don't know if you've ever seen the guy on social media, but he does all these stunts all the time. He's all like superhuman. He always like
Oh yeah.
the
Yeah.
juggalo guy, yeah, like he's always doing this crazy stuff. Part of me would like to do something like that, like once, but not like on a regular basis. Because I know, like Mick Foley, for example, like he did all that crazy stuff in his career, and he had a pretty short career. And you see, like how
Oh
banged
yeah.
up he got. So now my next question for you is: I saw that you also not only wrestle, but you also ref. So like how did that happen? Did the refereeing and all that did that come before the wrestling, after the wrestling? Like, how did you get into that?
So that actually became before the wrestling. My trainers are super like big on like paying your dues and like just learning every single aspect of wrestling. And so they were already kind of teaching me how to ref. And then when Glam was around, it's a promotion kind of like connected with Hood Slam, and like it's an all women show pretty much. And they the one of the main guys there, Anton, he was like, hey, do you ref by chance? And I'm like, I can try it out on a show, like I've been practicing it, so but unfortunately, like they already had it like advertised and stuff like that I was like making my ref debut there, but then the pandemic happened, so that kind of screwed everything up. And then somewhere down the line, like just the Mission Pro Wrestling like opportunity came like to ref there, so that was pretty cool. Like I was like kind of sad that like I never got to do my refing like for Glam or anything like that, but like once that opportunity came, like I kind of got like kind of like that confidence back and that excitement.
Exactly, and it's funny that you mentioned Glam and Hood Slam because I actually watched Hood Slam for the first time January of last year, like right before the pandemic happened. And I remember I saw the Glam event. I remember that was really good. I remember that's the first time I saw Heather Monroe wrestle. I know Holiday wrestled there, and then they were supposed to be. I think they did like the Glam thing like once every month, I believe. And the next one I remember for the next month, I was really excited for. But then that's when the pandemic really,
I know.
went in full force, and they postponed it, and still hasn't happened. But yeah,
No.
so like when it comes to refereeing, like tell me a little bit about like the preparation that you have to do before like a match. Like what do you have to do to get yourself prepared to do that?
I don't know like why, but I kind of get like a little more nervous than I do to wrestle like refing. Like I have no idea why. I think it's just because like the aspect of like you have to be serious, but you can't be too serious to where like you're not engaged with the match. Before I ref, I kind of just go to any referees around me. I'm like, hey, like give me some pointers, please. And like they kind of like calm the nerves down and stuff. Because it's big, like even with your positioning, like I've been told like you slouch too much, like you're small, like you're just making yourself look smaller. So like all these different things that like you wouldn't think of, but they do play a big part. And like I notice a difference when I watch myself ref. Like I'm like, oh, they were right about that. Like that angle wasn't good, but when I fixed it, it looked better. So
Yeah, exactly. Like refs play a huge role in the match, other than, people say, oh, they just stand there and count the one, two, three. Like you have to look the part. You get to make sure that you're obviously not getting hit by the wrestlers. I've seen it in WWE, like referees get ran over. Even in like the NFL, I've seen where a football player trambles over a referee. Like, you gotta you have to have that self-awareness and all that. I know every promotion is different, but I know like some promotions you have to have the earpiece in your ear, the I guess if any audibles or anything like that happens and stuff like that.
mhm.
So Is that how it was in Mission Pro? Did you have like someone talking to you in the ear or anything like that?
They didn't know. I know that the shows prior, I believe they did, but then at my show, I think they just had wiring issues, so they decided to cut it for now. So it wasn't anything like that. Which I kind of wish I had, because I don't know, maybe it would have made me feel a little bit more like with the more direction on what I'm doing, or like if they like where my position is and all that. So it was kind of just, I was just winging it.
So, speaking of like, you mentioned like where you trained that they wanted to kind of make you like an all-around performer and stuff like that. So, did they teach you anything about like commentary or anything like that as well?
They haven't, not yet. They were getting to that point and like kind of possibly teaching me how to like ring announce and stuff like that. But then like they haven't been open since I want to say April. So I been kind of like directing my training towards somewhere else. Um, where we haven't had that much time to like focus on anything else than the wrestling and reffing. So
Gotcha. Yeah, that's definitely totally understandable. But I do like the fact that they do teach you more than just wrestling, because it's good knowing this stuff. Like if hypothetically, and I hope it would never happen, but if you were to get like injured and never be able to wrestle again, you got the referee experience and all that kind of stuff in your back pocket, so you could still stay in the business. And it also opens up more opportunities for bookings, like Mission Pro, like they need a ref. There you go. So I think that's really cool learning all that stuff.
yeah, most definitely.
So now for my next question. So I have to ask, so far in your wrestling career, what would you say is like the biggest challenge so far when it comes to being a professional wrestler?
Oof, there's so many. I would say just like looking like you're confident in there, because a lot of the times, like I think I'm doing like somewhat of a good job of like showing like, hey, like I'm a pro wrestler, like I'm larger than life. But then other people are like, you did good, but like show some more like personality, show that you belong in there. So I think like just kind of the way that you portray yourself and like before you even lock up, is like something that's hard, to like start that story in a match.
Yeah, exactly. Like confidence is huge in just about everything, like every walks of life and stuff like that. And like when it comes to wrestling, like that really like shows like your star power, I feel like. Because I remember I don't know if you remember, but like when NXT, when they would do their takeovers, they would always like film like two dark matches, and then they would put those dark matches on like the following episode of NXT. And they did a dark match between Bianca Belair and Dakota Kai. And this was the first time that like Bianca Belair came out in front of like a big, large crowd, because like a takeover crowd, and she came out just so much confidence, so much charisma. I remember saying to myself, like when I saw that,
Mhm.
she is going to be a star, and ever since then she's been a star. But like I just feel like that is key. Like when and that translate to the crowd too. When the crowd sees a wrestler with that much confidence, it really stands out, makes them believe, hey, this really is a star kind of thing. So I
Yeah.
definitely, that's definitely really important. If your character was hypothetically someone who's not confident, and that would kind of work out well, because we've seen wrestlers like that in the past. That's just their gimmick, stuff like that. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, but I've seen stuff like that before, so I mean it can work as well. It just depends. But like I said, at the end of the day, confidence is key.
It is. Yeah. That is actually, I think that is probably one of my biggest struggles, like just my confidence, because I am like not confident at all half the time. Like even when you think I am, like I promise you I'm probably not. But fake it till you make it.
Exactly. And sometimes you just have to do it. Like it's all about the experience and stuff like that. Cause like I'll be honest with you, like we previously like talked about, like right before we started this recording, about like you had mentioned I've had all these wrestlers on my show. I've always been like very socially awkward. I've always been shy and nervous to talk to people. So this was like a big challenge to actually like talk to like strangers, basically like people I DM'd or whatever online, and set up this recording. And it like still to this day, I'll be honest with you, I still do get a little nervous. That's just kind of in my demeanor. But like I'm not scared to the point where I can't do it or anything like that. And I feel like I've built up that confidence. So it's kind of like, as far as like a wrestler, it's just like the more you do it, the more easier, more natural it'll come to you, because you just like it's all about like coming out of the bubble and coming out of your safe zone and stuff like that, your comfort zone, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. It's good that you figured that out because this is my first like interview podcast, like so many people have reached out to me. Like you were the first one, so it was like first come, first serve. But like I struggle so hard with like just like talking to people because I'm like so like I have a lot of anxiety. So like that's something that I'm kind of like this is like my first step. Like even just being here, like I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't know if I can do it, but I was like, no, you have to. You already told them. So this is like my first kind of little stepping stone to like starting to do these types of things.
Well, I'm very honored to be the first podcast for you to be featured on, so I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, like it's just one of those things where, like, if you really just need to break out of it, because because I'll be honest with you, it's not fun. Like I grew up most of my life being shy, anxiety. Like I have really bad anxiety, and kind of just sitting in the back and just kind of being the quiet person just kind of sucks. I just especially like when you want to engage with someone, you want to have a conversation with them, but you're just too scared to do it. Like I don't want to be that guy anymore. Like, and then I feel like because of the fact that I've always been shy and all that kind of stuff, I felt like it's always made conversations a little socially awkward. Like still to this day, if I'm not talking about wrestling, football, or video games or baseball, I suck at conversations. Like that's just kind of how I am. Like I have to be talking about something. Like I just don't, for the love of me, just don't know how just two random people can just go up to each other in a store or a mall and just strike a random conversation. Like I still have not gotten to that level.
Right. I'm not at that level either. So
Yeah, so I mean, practice makes perfect. Like I know, as being a wrestler, it's good doing podcasts. That will definitely, I feel like that would, definitely help your confidence out a lot too.
Mhm.
So now for the next question. So this is one of those non-related wrestling questions that I like to throw in there. So this could be anything of your choice, but what about yourself that's non-wrestling related that you would want, listeners to know, whether you're a big Star Wars fan, you love The Simpsons, you love eating pizza like every day or something like that, whatever you want to share.
I actually love to like bake things. From the time I was 13 to like 17, I had my own like little business and like I would sell like custom cupcakes, cookies, cakes, and all that. Like I always loved doing that as a kid.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Do you still do it now, like as like selling and stuff like that?
I don't, but I do it like for family, like if my nieces or nephew like they have any parties coming up, like I'm the one who does their desserts.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I know my friend's wife, he or she did like cakes, like custom cakes and stuff like that. And I don't know how much she sold them for. We were thinking about doing like a wrestling ring kind of cake for one of my birthdays years ago, but she never got back to my wife about it. But yeah, just like stuff like that. Like I think that's pretty cool. And if you ever did want to actually grow it out, as a suggestion, TikTok, that really helps grow small business. I don't know if how familiar you are with TikTok, but you should.
I'm obsessed with TikTok. It's pretty bad. Like it's the reason why I'm up till like 2 a.m. just scrolling through. And a lot of my feed, actually, funny that you mentioned it, is baking.
Oh, that is so cool. Yeah, I've seen so many like really neat like baking ideas, and like all these small businesses like growing and thriving on TikTok. But yeah, I'm obsessed with it too. When I first heard about it, maybe like a year or two ago, it was mainly like dancing or like people doing
Mhm.
like duets and songs. I was like, this really ain't for me. But now people are doing all these neat things like cooking, little small like tips and ideas and stuff like that. I'm on all the time. Every night before I go to bed, every day before I go to work, when I'm sitting in like the break room before my shift starts, I'm on TikTok, and I love it. Like I actually like created a separate TikTok for the O Face Wrestling podcast, and now I put like clips from wrestling matches and stuff like that I go to and stuff like that. So, and there's a few, if you use the right hashtags, like your videos can blow up. I posted a video of a like an intro clip that a wrestler sent me, and it got like over 13,000 views. I was like, wow, like, that's crazy. Like, does that
Cool.
yeah, it is cool. Like TikTok is like, it's a new thing. And then I don't know. I don't have many like personal friends that use it, but like it seems to be really popular though. Like, and I'm trying to get more of my friends into it because I've been making videos on my personal account and I want people to see them because I like to do like the funny trends that people do and stuff like that. And I have to ask you too because I'm sure you've seen this on TikTok and I tried it yesterday for the first time. Have you seen like the bell pepper sandwiches where people get like the bell pepper and they put like the meat and all? Have you
Yeah,
tried that yet?
I haven't. No, I can't eat raw bell pepper. Like, I don't know. They have to be cooked to me. Like, maybe if I grilled the bell pepper first and then did it, I would try it. But a lot of the times I do it like with raw bell pepper. And
Yeah, that
I don't know.
that's what I did yesterday. I got the raw bell pepper. I had mayonnaise, salt, pepper, mustard, and chicken. And I didn't really like it too much, to be honest with you. It was something I'm one of those people. If something is popular on TikTok, I will try it. Like those Earth Planet gummy things that everyone was doing, I bought them on Amazon and tried them. But yeah, I like to do new things. Even I saw a girl went to McDonald's and she had them put like coffee creamer in her tea, her sweet tea, and I tried it and it was so good. Yeah, that it was delicious. I definitely
Some of
highly
them are
recommend
really
it.
good. Some of them are a little questionable.
Yeah, there are some weird things that I see people that I won't do. Like for whatever reason, cutting like a milk carton in half is popular. Like that's
Oh
something I'm not
no.
gonna do. I'm not
That makes
wasting
me so
milk.
mad. I'm like, you're wasting good milk.
I don't know why that's popular though. That's the weird thing. Like, why do you want to watch someone cut a carton of milk
I
open?
know.
Like, there's nothing enjoyable about that. So now, next question I got for you. So I got two more. So now the next one is, what are some of your goals that you have in the wrestling business right now?
Um, I have so many, but I guess one that like stands out that like people ask me like would you be able to like die the next night happy? And I could say yeah if I were to achieve it, but wrestle in the Corkin Hall. Like I think that that would be just so cool, you know.
Where is that located at?
In Japan?
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. So yeah, Japan wrestling. I'm not too familiar with Japan wrestling. I'll be honest with you. There, I know there's what's that promotion? That women's promotion.
Stardom?
Stardom. Yes, yes. I've heard a lot of good things. One of my friends like really highly recommends it to me. The only issue is like there's already so much wrestling out there that I watch. It's insane. Like obviously, WWE, it's Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and then I'm really big into AEW, and I really like a what's it called, evaluation or the new one.
Yeah, I know. Evelyn. No, I don't know. I know. I now
You
I'm
don't.
thinking about it. I was
Yeah,
just watching it.
I haven't watched the most. I think the one I haven't watched the most. The two most recent episodes, but I did watch like the first two or three, and I like that. I watched Impact. I try to watch as much indies as I can too. It's just like I just don't have enough room on my plate to add anything else. But I do want to at least check out like one Stardom show just to say I gave it a try. But I know like there's some wrestlers from WWE that come from there. I think Io Shirai came from there. I think Asuka came from there too. So I know they're extremely talented. Like I won't deny that. And now for my last and final question. If you were given an opportunity to main event WrestleMania and you could choose any opponent, who would it be? And it doesn't have to be WWE. It could be an AEW, Indies, any wrestler that you would want to go toe to toe and the most on the grandest stage of them all.
Uh oh my gosh. Um I think I'm just gonna go with my girl Sasha Banks. Like, I don't know. I feel just such a connection with her. It's crazy. Like the way that she like sees and loves wrestling, like that's like how I feel about it. Like when people ask me certain things like about wrestling and like I'll start to like tear up and stuff. And like when I watch her interviews, like she's the same way. And I think it's just because like there's that, I don't know, there's that connection there, like with wrestling.
She's very passionate about what she does. And like
Mhm.
when she won the Raw Women's title for the first time in like 2016, I think it was, I personally like my eyes got watery just seeing her emotion and how much it meant to her. And that's what I love about like, a lot of these wrestlers when they win these titles, just seeing how much it means to them. Like
Right.
it has always low key bothered me when like a wrestler wins a title and they just hold it up like it's nothing. Like it's like I know sometimes they're in character, but like even when Aleister Black won the NXT title, like he was a badass, like dark, demonic kind of guy, and he even kind of started breaking down. I was like, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the rest if a wrestler breaks character and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But Sasha, I say this all the time with social media. She's the GOAT, and you cannot go wrong with, having a match with her because she has like a 5-star match with everyone. Like she brings out the best in everyone, and she's the greatest. And when she lost that title to Bianca at WrestleMania, even she looks so proud of Bianca. Like she's very humble to the business, and it's clearly she's not one of those. It's about me. She like really cares about women's wrestling as a whole, and I like that.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm going to throw in another question real quick. So out of all the current wrestlers, who would you say is your favorite? And it might be Sasha, I don't know, but I'm just going to throw
Oh,
that
the
question.
current. Oh my goodness. Um, I want to say Kevin Owens. I think it's just because like I watched so much of his Kevin Steen stuff. And like, I don't know, I just every time I see him or like Sami Zayn wrestle, like I'm just like, this is so cool. Like they were doing it like in front of 50 people before, and now look at them, one of the biggest wrestling companies right now.
Exactly. Like I'll be honest with you, I didn't know Kevin Owens until he came to NXT, but I remember there being like a lot of hype about him. And when I saw his debut match at NXT, like he really sold me. Like he instantly became my favorite at the time. And I'm kind of more of a Bray Wyatt fan now, I'll be honest with you. But like Kevin Owens, he was just so badass. I love the look. It was different. He didn't look like your traditional wrestler. He was a badass. His feud with Sammy in NXT was amazing. And
Oh yeah. And
so
like
do
the
you
impact, like just seeing that feud in like Ring of Honor and all that, and then just seeing it like in a different like setting, it's just cool to me. Like they worked hard to get where they're at now. So
exactly. And I like how they kind of threw in like real life stuff into his storyline because he had been doing what he had been doing for so long prior to coming to WWE. So like when he feuded with John Cena, which was an amazing feud by the way, minus him losing the last 2 matches of that feud, but he did the whole thing like because like, he was like John Cena, like I'm not a rookie, like I've been doing this longer than you and all this kind of stuff. Like he brought in like real life stuff, and I really liked it. And man, Kevin Owens is a beast on the mic. Though I will say that, like he is
oh yeah.
great.
He's
I
still the
would.
best.
He's still the best. Like if CM Punk ever came back, I would just love to see them feud and them have like a promo battle because they are so similar on the mic. Like everything's, it feels generic. It doesn't feel scripted. They both are just so good. Especially Kevin Owens because he instantly came to WWE and was a beast on the mic. He didn't have to be taught. I don't know how many promos he did in Ring of Honor and all that kind of stuff, but typically I feel like you don't see a lot of promos outside of like WWE and all that kind of stuff. The fact that he was good at it right away I thought was really amazing.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So with Kevin Owens, do you prefer him doing the pop-up power bomb or the stunner as his finisher? Because I personally miss the pop-up power bomb.
Yeah, I miss the pop-up power bomb. I'm not gonna lie, especially like when he would do it like to the apron and all that. Like,
Yeah, it pissed me off when he did it to John Cena off, outside on the apron, and Cena was back like 2 weeks later. I'm like thinking like when he did this in NXT, it would write people off TV for months, and now like, but yeah, like to me it looked more painful and more like it would do more damage than the stunner. But I mean I don't mind the stunner. It
he
just
does it pretty well either way,
he
but I
he does
definitely
it
do
good.
prefer the pop-up power bomb.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he does it again. I know like Seth Rollins was doing the pedigree for a little bit, then he went back to the curb stomp. So maybe he'll go back to it eventually. I don't know.
Mhm.
I feel like if he turns heel, he'll probably go to it because I feel like the stunner is something he's been doing ever since he's turned face.
Yeah.
And I actually like when I went to a WWE event late in 2019, he was in the main event, and I took like a quick picture with him, like when he was outside the ring and all. Like I thought that was pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'll send you the picture when we're done. But yeah, that was a really pretty cool moment.
Yes, please do.
I've never gotten a picture with a wrestler like right outside the ring like that. So I thought that was a pretty cool opportunity that he came over.
Oh, really? I think
Yeah.
the first time that happened to me was Aleister Black and Drew McIntyre. They were at a show in an NXT show in Sacramento, and they like came over, and I was like so happy. I can't remember how old I was at the time. I think like maybe 14, and it was just like one of those cool moments. I'm like, wow, they're real people.
Exactly. Yeah. I've been wanting to go to an NXT show so bad, but they don't really tour as much as, the main roster and stuff like that. And obviously, because of COVID,
Right.
they don't really do. But my one friend, like a few months before the pandemic, I think they went down to like South Carolina or something like that, and she got to see a lot of the NXT wrestlers. I think like Bianca was down there. I think Aleister Black was down there too, if I remember. But she said she was like amazed at how like they had like all the big stars from NXT there. So I think that was cool, and I definitely want to go to an NXT show one day. Hopefully they come down to Baltimore, but we'll see.
Hopefully, I think so.
But yeah, Myra, that wraps up all the questions I have for you. So I just have to thank you so much for joining us today on O Face Wrestling.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely, no problem at all. And did you want to share your social media with the listeners so they know where to find you at?
Yes, I am on Twitter and Instagram at Mighty One Myra. So it's the number one. So Mighty One Myra.
All right, so make sure you all follow her on social media. I will put the links below in the bio, and also make sure you give us a sub on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Thank you all so much for listening to us and joining us on O Face Wrestling. And thank you once more again, Mighty Myra, for joining us today.
Thank you. Bye.
And bye, everyone.
Mhm.